following video is sponsored by Cygames. Try the game for free on Android, iOS or Steam. Download links are available in the video description. Welcome back guys, my name is Furo and today we will check out some of the new gold cards from the Wonderland Dreams expansion. Wonderland Dreams is the upcoming Shadowverse expansion filled with over 100 new cards set in a world of classic fairy tales and fantasy that is coming out next week. In today's video I will show you 5 gold cards from the new set that I personally find very exciting and can't wait to try out. That does not mean that these specific cards are the strongest in the expansion, but rather the ones that might be the most fun, have the craziest effects or an amazing artwork. If you are looking for some legendaries to look out for, I can recommend my last Shadowverse video. I will put a link to this one in the video description, so check it out as well. And now let's start with the first gold card that I picked for you. This one is a runecraft follower called Falise Leonardian Mage. As you might already know, Wonderland Dreams is pushing the neutral cards and neutral power decks quite heavily, and this card greatly fits the theme of the new set. When you play Falise, you can deal X damage to an enemy follower and X equals the number of neutral cards in your hand. But there's even more, so for 7 instead of 5 play points, you are then also getting a free evolution on the follower, including the Storm keyword for some direct face damage or trading potential. The card is obviously designed with a lot of neutral cards in mind, but even without too many of those in hand, the value you are presented here is really nice. Comparing the stats on Falise with some other Storm units shows that the enhanced version for 7 is a really good deal, but on top of that there is the additional power through the damaging as well. If you're playing a full neutral deck, then you are of course dealing some nice burn damage on enemy follower. On the other hand, playing the card in a slightly tuned mid-range runecraft deck might also be good enough for some decent swing turns. Even 1 or 2 damage points on an enemy follower should lead to a kill in case your opponent was evolving a turn earlier and going for trade then. Definitely a card that will see play one way or the other, so better be careful with that one. Next up, let's have a look at the Forestcraft follower called Fairy Driver. This one is fitting perfectly with the overall theme of most Forestcraft builds that are trying to punish your opponent with only a few but very efficient burst damaging moves. Similar to a Rhino burst turn, the Fairy Driver needs a bit of a setup to be highly effective. As long as the card stays on the board, every fairy that is coming into play is not only getting buffed, but also has a new ability to storm into the face. The most damage you can then create will be on turn 8 or later with at least 4 fairies in hand. This will allow you to play the Fairy Driver alongside 4 fairies and either do some heavy trading if you are behind, or just go for 8 damage directly in the face. If you also have a Rhino in your hand, obviously could play it on top of that for a total of 10 play points for the near 1 turn kill. That sounds like a lot to set up, but the good thing here is that Forestcraft is able to produce so many fairies without a problem, while also maintaining a huge amount of cards in their hand all the time. So in theory it should work out decently enough. The question that will remain though is if this new fairy centric deck stronger than a straight up Rhino 1 turn kill deck. That has to be seen, nonetheless a card that I'm looking forward to play. One very spicy card is coming for the Shadowcraft class, the Poisoned Apple of Rebirth. Bible taught us that an apple always comes with a consequence. In our case it is a very joyful one with an amazing effect if played at the right time. For 2 play points you can change a neutral follower into a Shadowcraft follower that is then also getting the last words effect to summon another follower of the same name. Although not necessarily useful for yourself, definitely check out the wording here, because the effect can also be played on the enemy followers. Obviously the card is useless with only a few or non-neutral followers in your deck, so I won't expect to see it around in too many decks, but in the right one it is pretty nuts. Getting a second Bahamut, Israfil or whatever huge finisher you like again on the board can be a very devastating move to pull. Also don't forget that you can use the apple on any storm unit you like, then attack with it, destroy the unit for example with a soul conversion to resummon it and attack a second time. Soul conversion is really cheap to enable such things, so it should be a viable idea to get some damage in. Most likely that is a card that will find its way in some late game oriented greedy control Shadowcraft decks, and because I'm totally a fan of control decks, I will bite a piece of the apple in the future without hesitation. Gold card 4 to look out for is part of the Bloodcraft class and one hell of a blade. The lethal blade costs you 3 play points and is slowly killing whatever enemy follower you choose. The chosen follower then either get 3 damage when he attacks or is getting more or less shut down and useless on the board for the rest of the game. If Vengeance is already active for you when you play the blade, the effect is getting increased to all enemy followers instead of just one, allowing for some nice damaging overtime effects on your opponent's side. 3 damage are in general good enough to kill the vast majority of followers in 1 or 2 attacks. Only a small handful of units can survive more than that, especially if you are doing a bit of trading on your turn as well. That's a very interesting effect which unfortunately also has some flaws. If the opponent's units are not getting destroyed by the attack, they can of course still deal their damage. So that means if Vengeance is already active for you, your total life points are at 10 or lower, so units that are able to push damage into the face are highly dangerous for yourself. Obviously, most stuff is going down with an attack, but a board clearer that is killing instantly might be more suitable in such a situation. Nonetheless, a cool card and especially in Take 2 very strong. Last but not least, we are now also checking out a Swordcraft card. The Council of Card Knights is another spell costing 5 play points and was one of the earliest cards revealed for the Wonderland Dreams expansion. This card is all about the value that you are creating and reminds me in this regard strongly of the Hearthstone card Call of the Wild. If you're familiar with the game, you are probably seeing what I'm talking about. So if you play the spell, you will summon 3 units on the board: a Club Soldier, a Heart Guardian and a Space Rider. Each of those creatures is sharing the same amount of stats but possesses a different single keyword. For the stats you are looking at 1 attack and 3 defense, while the keywords are Storm, Bane and Ward. The cost for the single units is set at 3 play points each, so that means for 5 points you will get the value of 9. The keywords are all very useful. Furthermore, it might be more beneficial for yourself to have multiple different units on the board instead of one big guy with multiple keywords on him. This way you can make sure to receive more buff through cards like the Luminous Knight or give your opponents more targets that it needs to deal with. A very good combination all around. The only problem might be the very crowded 5 play point slot in Swordcraft right now. With 3 Albats and 3 Luminous Mages that are currently in nearly every build, the space is really tight for more 5 play point cards. So there needs to be some sort of shift in the deck builds to make it work. And that was then the last card for my little journey through the gold cards of Wonderland Dreams. If you have a different list or are excited for other cards, please feel free to share them in the comment section alongside your feedback for the video. If you've enjoyed it, don't forget to leave a like or a subscription to my channel. I will be back on Tuesday with a fresh Shadowverse video for you. Until then, have a good night guys.